There was no point on his body where we could actually physically pick him up. He would just scream in pain if we tried to touch him. This is the first time I've ever been faced with actually losing a child. My prayer is that this will be a story that Tommy will be able to talk about forever, that he really was a miracle. Tommy is the youngest in our family. It was kind of this bright light in our family right when we needed it. He loves people. He has this bright, happy personality. We say Tommy tough because he had to be so tough in the hospital, but he actually is really tough. When our family has been through hard things, Sandy Hendry, the owner of Minky, we're so close with her and with her family that at one point she let me and my kids go into her store and let each of us pick a Minky. He always wanted that Minky right around him. His skin was so sensitive and so tender, and it was also our only way that we could hold him. It's the only way we could connect with him and physically hold him as well. Tommy gets cold sores quite often in the same spot on his chin. One morning when he woke up with a few little spots all over, looked like maybe a little rash. These spots now were all blistering. We took him to the hospital and they admitted us. Every test that we did, every biopsy, everything they did was non-conclusive. Nothing supported any specific diagnosis. Over the course of the next few days, Tommy's blisters were getting so bad that he couldn't eat or drink anything. He was so miserable that they finally got him to this point where he was sedated on a breathing tube. The reality of the severity of this was so scary. No amount of prayer or medication or specialists at that point had done anything to help him. It was only worsening. We were faithfully praying every day and believing that Tommy would get better. But when he was not getting better, despite our efforts, I realized he might actually not get better. To be honest, the suffering I was watching him go through, I didn't know if I could watch it much longer. There was a point where my husband and I felt completely helpless. We dropped to our knees in prayer. And we just said, we turn him over to you. We give this boy to you at this time. We trust you with him. We know that he's better off in your hands, and we just completely surrendered at that point. We stopped praying that he would get better. We just started praying for God's will to take place at this point. So it was at this point that family and friends all around just rallied around and thought that they would pull together. My daughter kind of organized a day where everybody would wear green. People prayed for him, and everybody kind of rallied around at this point to support us.
Oh, your best friend.
We felt like by the grace of God, we were given this miracle. Truly a miracle. This doctor had came into our lives and found what she thought was a diagnosis and a potential treatment. And from that point forward, we saw Tommy start to improve. And for the first time in 10 days, we had no new blisters and no new lesions on his body. We felt like this would be the turning point where he would start healing. Tommy was breathing his own air again. He wasn't intubated anymore. Family and friends had really rallied around us that day. There was so much strength and hope coming in. And Sandy had sent 20 more Minkies. These blankets did not just seem like blankets. It seemed like this message of hope from God, from everybody around us, sending us this beautiful message that we could get through anything. And we were able to share these Minkies with other doctors and the nurses. Everybody was working around the clock to help Tommy get better. We just watched him improve every single day. People couldn't believe it. Doctors were coming in from all over the hospital and nurses just saying, "Is this the same boy?" Nobody could believe how fast he was improving. By the end of the week, he had improved so much that they said we could bring him home. As we pulled into our neighborhood, we saw green ribbons starting down the street and signs all over saying, "Welcome home, Tommy. You're so tough." It was such a beautiful homecoming, and Tommy was just so thrilled and so happy to be home. It was awesome. Ever since we brought Tommy home, it's been so wonderful to see him in his own element with his siblings interacting and just kind of watch him come alive and be a healthy kid again. It was so emotional. Every little thing we watched felt like a miracle. I hope this is always an experience for Tommy that he can rely on and remember how tough he was through the hardest thing that a little boy should ever have to go through, knowing that we can really get through anything. And that toughness and the strength of others is really what pulled him through.